Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching Healthy Alternative. Today, we're going to be talking about multiple different fasting types: liquid fasting, juice fasting, water fasting, dry fasting, etc.
We're missing a piece of the puzzle.
You start getting healthy and you just become a better person.
We need to start focusing more on the individual.
What's going on, everybody? I thought I would do something fun and speed things up a little bit. I don't really talk that fast, but I can speed things up, although I do have a natural speed that I like to go at. Anyway, I did a live earlier today that I was going to share with you all, but it got deleted. So unfortunately, that is probably gone forever, thanks to the way Instagram works and my phone dying at the perfect time. But we talked about different forms of fasting. So we talked about mono fasting, dry fasting, liquid fasting, juice fasting, and like one meal a day. And I figured I'd just kind of do a quick recap since that's what you guys were going to get anyway. Now, we've talked about this on the channel already, but what prompted me to want to talk about it again was Steven's recent decision to do a watermelon fast. And he was kind of like, man, I wonder what it's going to do. And I'm like, well, I've talked about that type of stuff before. It's mono fasting. Right. So whether you're talking about watermelon fasting, grape fasting, or, orange fasting, whatever the case may be, it all would be under a mono fast. And I guess we'll just start with mono fasting. So mono fasting is simply choosing one food item, typically something that's going to be a whole food, and you would use that as the only thing that you would eat that day or for that meal. Now, I typically recommend to do an entire day of a particular food item if you're going to do mono fasting, but you can switch it up and do 2 or 3 different food items. You just don't eat them at the same time. You have them at separate times for different meals. The benefit are wide ranging. Well, first of all, you're eating a whole food product, so that's already going to be good. The second thing is you are increasing your body's ability to digest. The more complex foods you eat, the harder it is for your body to digest that food product. So, eating something like a hamburger where you have the bread, the meat, the lettuce, tomato, the condiments, it is a mess for your body to have to digest. So do not monofast using something like a hot dog or a hamburger. It needs to be a whole food product in order to get the benefit or the maximum benefit. We also talked about liquid fasting. And one of the things that I wanted to point out as it relates to liquid fasting is some people think it's cheating. Some people think liquid fasting is not real fasting. But the reality is you want to do the fast that you can complete. You want to do the fast at the level that you're at. There's many benefits to doing liquid fasting. Remember, with liquid or juice, you're going to lose about 1 pound a day, which is awesome compared to traditional standards. Also, it's going to help kind of prepare your body to do other types of fasting. So if you're new to fasting, if you've tried some fasting before and it's been challenging for you, do liquid. So what does a liquid fast look like? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. You could do vegetable broth, you could do bone broth, you could do soup, you could do juice, you could do anything that's liquid, essentially. So it's not just specifically water or juice. It's anything that is liquid. And, it might be a little bit easier for you. It might give you a little bit more options. But getting away from the solid foods is a step in the right direction. It really does benefit you. Now, with juice fasting, the benefits I've talked about before is that the acidity of the juice will start to etch away at the plaque that's, lining our intestines, or if you have impacted fecal matter and things of that nature, it will start breaking that stuff down and flushing it out the system. The longer you juice fast, the more deep it will go. One of the people asked me about, doing a 40-day juice fast, and they were experiencing some pain and discomfort. And I wanted to say that if you're doing a really long-term juice fast and you're starting to experience some discomfort, that's okay, because your body is going to get to different levels, right? I mean, the first few days you might get the top layer of this stuff. And after 40 days, you might start getting to some of the really, really old stuff. Your bowel movements are going to change. They're going to stink. It's going to be a whole deal, but don't worry. You don't need to worry that something's wrong or you're doing something wrong or you're hurting yourself. I would suggest to keep going, especially during that time, because you're getting close to the conclusion. It's kind of like when it snows, as the snowflakes get bigger and bigger, it's about to end. The bigger the snowflakes get, it's about to end. It's climaxing. So it's the same thing with your, your bowels. And as it starts getting to the older stuff, it's a good thing. It's a good experience, although it might not be the most comfortable thing. We also talked about dry fasting. Dry fasting is pretty simple. You want to make sure to hydrate well before you do your dry fast. And then you want to make sure that you just monitor yourself daily, make sure you've got the energy and the mental fortitude to continue. Me personally, when my mouth starts to dry up, that's when I'm like, all right, I'm good on the dry fast. And that's usually when I'll end it. The longest dry fast I've personally done is 6 days. I know that I think we had Justin Howe come on the show and he did like 12 or 14 days, which is pretty amazing. If you all are interested in researching breatharians and learning about how they do, dry fasting, which is essentially what it is, they do it much longer, but it's a whole practice. There's a lot to learn and understand. And I just wouldn't recommend it for someone who is unstudied. Another good option is 1 meal a day. So we talked about 1 meal a day. And this is a refresher for the most part, but 1 meal a day is amazing because you could take all of the food that you would typically eat in one day and you can condense it down to a 1 hour eating window, right? So if you eat 1,500 calories a day or 2,000 calories a day, if you can get 1,500 or 2,000 calories in one sitting, it actually is more optimal to eat it all at one time than to spread it out throughout the day in 4 or 5 different meals. The reason for this is you're giving your body 23 hours essentially to digest the food, which is pretty amazing. Versus if you were to spread 1,500 calories out throughout 3 meals, 500 calories a meal, you might end up giving your body only 12, maybe even 10 hours to digest the food, if that, depending on when you go to sleep and when you end your eating habits versus when you wake up and when you break it. So giving your body 23 hours a day to digest food is pretty amazing. So you can eat the same amount of food, but because you eat it all at one time, the effects are less detrimental. So that's a really good option for people who are interested in adopting some type of fasting lifestyle, just indefinitely. You just, hey, that's what you do. You do 1 meal a day. It's something that's really comfortable to do. I did it for a very long time. I was very comfortable. I actually just felt like that's what, felt natural to me, to just have 1 meal. I did not stuff 1,500 calories into 1 meal. So it wasn't like I ate a crap ton of food, but I did eat very hearty meals. I was satiated and it was easy. It worked out well. I did that coming off the back of, 5 months to a year of regular fasting, and it just felt good. Also, when I switched to doing raw, I had to kind of adopt a 1 meal a day strategy just because it was really easy to overeat when I was eating raw. Your stomach gets full much more quickly than what you're used to. So, I kind of adopted a 1 meal a day during that time as well. Now, obviously, the water fasting is it's the one that everybody loves to talk about, loves to do. Honestly, water fasting is, it's a great overall fast. You get a lot of benefit from a lot of different areas. You could do it prolonged. You could get benefits from short. The weight loss is excellent. 2 pounds a day on average if you're fasting for 1 to 14 days. It's a pretty good deal. It's a little challenging to do. It's something that you really need to prep for. I usually recommend a 7-day prep going into your fast. And I would actually recommend using like a juice fast or even a liquid fast in preparation for a water fast. Just gives your body some time to adjust. But we already know the benefits of water fasting. We've talked about it many times, but obviously it's a great option. And, water fasting, you can adopt a 4-day water fast every month, right? At the beginning of the month, you knock out 4 or 5 days. You could do, 3 days a week. It's really up to you. I think that it's important to be intuitive with whatever fasting strategy we decide to use long term. But I did want to mention you can also do fruit fasting. Some people don't consider that to be real fasting, but remember, if you're fruit fasting, you're eating a whole fruit, you're getting tons of water. It's really easy for the body to digest. You're going to get a lot of the benefits of fasting, especially if you're comparing it to like juice fasting or something of that nature. The bowels move more frequently when you do a fruit fast. So that's kind of a benefit. And then as well as you're eating, right? So it's not like you're as socially awkward as you might be if you were doing water fast or even just a juice fast. People tend to be okay leaving you alone if you're eating something. So if you find yourself in a lot of situations where people are kind of judging you or ask you questions when you don't eat, fruit fasting might make sense for you. And also, typically, no matter where you go, there's some fruit available. There's very few restaurants or places where there's just no fresh fruit. So that also just helps you be a little bit more social and things of that nature. And of course, you know, you can eat a ton of fruit every day, right? It's not like you have to eat it sparingly if you're doing a fruit fast. You can eat a lot of fruit. You can eat 3, 4 oranges, a watermelon, a handful of papayas or mangoes in a day, some grapes. It should fill you up pretty quickly, but of course your body's going to digest it pretty quickly too, which is the point, right? You're going to get the acidity from the fruit. It's going to help cleanse out the intestinal tract and just make your bowels much easier. You might think you're getting diarrhea, but you're not. It's just your body is cleansing. And so, it's just a really good option. I would say play with it, get comfortable with whatever makes the most sense for you. And then if you want to challenge yourself to go to the next level, by all means, instead of just doing, a 5-day fruit fast or whatever, do 4 days of fruit and then do a day of fruit juice or liquid. Or, you could do juice fasting 6 days out of the week, and then 1 day you do water, right? Just play around with it, get comfortable, find something that works for you. Ultimately, that's the goal. Just be consistent with whatever you do. And as always, the application of knowledge is power. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, and I'm going to see you all next time.